Morning, everybody. Man, just working here again. Well, I had a pretty scary moment this weekend to where I went to bed Friday night, normal night, and my dog Dixie was laying next to me. This little pup right here. Say hi. Well, 3:30 in the morning, I woke up and she was having a seizure. And I didn't know what in the world to do or what caused it or anything. At the moment, I didn't even know it was a seizure. I just felt something, and I popped awake and looked over, and her whole body was locked up. She was laying on her side, just kind of shaking, and she wasn't breathing. And then she started spitting out all this white foam coming out of her mouth everywhere. And she lost control of her bathroom function, so she started peeing. And I was like, "What in the world?" I'm trying to rub on her and get her to kind of snap to. I didn't know what it was. And of course, my other dog, for some reason, thought she was playing, so she jumped up on the bed wanting to play, and I had to keep pushing her away. And immediately started trying to find the name of an animal hospital because I figured there's got to be somebody out there that's open outside of a regular vet's office. So then I find a number for one that's down the road, 15 minutes down the road. So, and by this time, Dixie had snapped out of it and come to. It lasted maybe a minute, which seemed like forever. Seemed like she was just laying there for so long. And she eventually snapped out of it and kind of tried to stand up and get off the bed, but her back legs still didn't work. So she kind of tried to stand up, and then she fell over, and then she stood up again. And I'm just trying to get her to lay back down. I'll throw on some clothes real quick, and I rush her into the truck and take her right on down to the animal hospital. And they look at her, and there's still no idea what caused it. Because everything, they looked at her, all of her vitals were normal, and they said to rule a couple of possibilities out, they could do a blood test. So I said, yeah, go ahead and run the blood test, just to be safe, see if everything's okay. And everything came back normal. Everything was right down the middle, normal, the normal range where it's supposed to be. And so I thought, okay. And they said, well, we can keep her for 12 to 24 hour hold just for observation to make sure everything's okay, but we don't really think it's necessary since it could just be a fluke deal. So since it was kind of a weird fluke thing, I brought her back home, and we were laying up on the couch because I had to wash all the bed stuff. So we were laying on the couch, just kind of dozing off to a movie, and she stands up in the middle of the kitchen, or in the middle of the living room, and just starts making that kind of noise with her mouth. I was like, what in the world? And I look at her, and I notice she's not looking at anything. She's just staring off, not moving. Then suddenly her legs stopped working again. She fell back down onto the ground and flopped onto her side. But while she was standing up doing that tongue thing, I was looking at her and went, oh no, that's not good. And then immediately just more white foam starts pouring out of her mouth, and she drops. And she starts locking up again. And the doctor told me, he said, there's really nothing you can do during a seizure except for, if they're on the bed, keep them from falling off the bed. If they're on the stairs or near stairs, keep them from falling down the stairs. And so I got down and I just trying to comfort her, just kind of rubbing her stomach, letting her know I'm there, it's okay, I got you. And my other dog thinks she's trying to play again, so she starts jumping around trying to play with her. And I'm just trying to kind of keep the area clear because she's starting to run. She started sprinting full speed, laying on her side, like she was running through a field. And of course her head's going, and I'm just trying to clear everything out of the way so that she doesn't hit her head on anything. And she snaps back to it, snaps back again, and she's just confused. And the same thing happens. She stands up, and I kind of grab her. I'm trying to put her, lay her back down, make sure she's, that way she can kind of gather herself. and she tries to run off real quick right along the couch. So I grabbed her and I just kind of, sit down, sit down. Started rubbing on her again. It's okay, let me look at you. And at that point, I took her back to the hospital again. This was 5 hours, 4.5, 5 hours after the first one. So it's about 8 o'clock in the morning. And I run her back on down to the hospital. I said, hey, she just had another seizure. So I'm going to need you guys to hold on to her. So that way, if it happened again, they would have somebody right there that could give her something to pull her out of it. So, they took her back into her own little room, and they gave her some kind of medicine to stop the seizures. And then they put her on another kind of medicine to keep them from happening again. Now, dogs do get epilepsy, and they said she's on the tail end of it, because they usually see it in dogs that are between 2 and 7 years old. Now, that's the usual range for epilepsy coming up in dogs. And she'll be 7 in December. So, now she's on the anti-seizure medication, which for her right now is 2 pills a day. She gets 1 in the morning, 1 at night. And that should keep them away. I really hope so. Because it was really scary going through that. Because, when you're... For you dog people out there, you know how much a dog means to you and your family. It's really scary to see something like that happen, and you just don't know what to do, what's causing it, or really anything. So luckily, my wife and kids were out of town this weekend, so that would be really scary for a kid to see their buddy going through that. But she's home now. And she's happy, just running around. She's back up on my chair, laying right between my legs, where she usually sits. Not the ideal way to spend a weekend. But that's one of the reasons on my other videos I say save your money, because this stuff is not cheap. It was an unexpected, immediate expense. And the first visit cost me $320. And then I brought her home, and then I took her back at 8 o'clock. And they had to keep her. I just picked her back up this morning. It's Sunday morning. And this visit costs just a little over $600. So total, I'm at about $920 unexpected, has to be spent right now. So luckily, I had enough money saved up to where it's not going to be a huge break the bank event. But just like your kids, you want to see your pets be healthy. So it was money well spent. I just hope I don't have to spend it again. Hopefully this will all stay away with the medication that she's on. I do have to take her back to the vet in a month to get the levels of the medication checked so that they can make sure it's not too much to where it's overloading her, or that it's too little and ineffective. One of the side effects of the medication is that it's hard on their liver. They said especially for older dogs, because they've got this medicine that their body constantly has to process, so it's hard on their liver. But pretty scary time this weekend. But I'm glad she's back now. Aren't you, Bubba? She's a good dog. Dang good dog. So, I'm going to get back to whatever it is I'm going to be doing today. Y'all be good.